for the coming season. Let's take a look across all 3 days of testing and find out what's new for MotoGP in 2020, starting with day 1. Fastest on the first day of 3 was Petronas Yamaha SRT rider Fabio Quartararo, confirmed for a factory seat in 2021, but for today at least on the 2019 machine with the promise of a 2020 factory spec M1 tomorrow. His teammate Franco Morbidelli trails just half a second behind in P2 after 62 laps. The Suzuki X-Star factory, in their new vintage colours, were looking to confirm the step made in Valencia and Jerez on their 2020 bike and improve Rin's one-lap pace, which seems to be paying off as the number 42 finishes the day in P3. LCR Honda Castrol rider Cal Crutchlow has been helping HRC with their testing efforts, as Marc Marquez is still recovering from shoulder surgery. The Brit was testing 3 chassis variations today, finally putting himself in 4th at the end of the day. Jack Miller was the fastest Ducati rider of the day in 5th. 4 brand new Ducati Desmosedici GP20s on the track today, 1 for each of the factory team riders as well as both Pramac racing riders. Vinales finished the day 6th after both him and Rossi had 3 bikes each, as the team seems to be stepping up their test efforts in a big way, the riders putting in a combined 97 laps between them. A surprise start to the day, seeing a very happy Aleix Espargaro taking the Aprilia provisionally to the top of the timesheet, as the team seems to have made a good progress in the off-season. And KTM seem to have made their choice to continue with the hybrid chassis on their RC16. All 4 riders testing it, plus test rider Dani Pedrosa, with Paul Espargaro also testing new fairings, finally finishing the day in 8th. Johann Zarco, on his first day riding a Ducati with Realia Vintia, finished 19th, a second and a half off the top spot. The Petronas Yamaha rider was fastest on day 1. Let's see what happened on day 2. Fastest yet again in Sepang was Petronas Yamaha SRT's Fabio Quartararo, yesterday on the 2019 Yamaha M1, today on the 2020 machine, as he was upgraded to the same bike as Rossi and Vinales. The Monster Energy Yamaha riders once again rode a whopping number of laps, trying to get to grips with the new bike, adapting to the new machine and chassis for the season to come. Quartararo's teammate Franco Morbidelli meanwhile finished the day 5th, again showing the speed of the satellite team, as the only rider on a so-called A-spec bike with a carbon swing arm. Pramac Racing's Jack Miller spent most of the day on the top of the timesheet, only to be knocked a second late on by Quartararo. The Aussie remains the fastest Ducati though, with Petrucci finishing 13th, teammate Bagnaia 14th, and Andrea Dovizioso finishing the day 15th after a late crash. Hats off to KTM test rider Dani Pedrosa, who launched himself into the top 3 late on after 54 laps, 0.09 seconds off the top. Both the factory team and the Tech 3 riders were testing the latest RC16s with bags of new parts as ever. Paul Espargaro finishing the day in 8th. Joan Mir finished the day 4th as the fastest Suzuki rider ahead of Rins, who finished 7th. The Spanish duo showing their potential on the new bike with those vintage colours. Reigning champion Marc Marquez was the fastest Honda rider of the day in 9th, but he had a crash at turn 3 after 47 laps. LCR Honda rider Cal Crutchlow, who has taken on the lion's share of Marc's testing load due to that shoulder surgery, finished the day in 12th, and Repsol Honda rookie Alex Marquez was the only rider to put in a race simulation as he gets to grips with the RC213V. Welcome back to the 3rd and final day of testing at the Sepang International Circuit. The rain has brought an early end to testing, but let's take a look at everything we've seen on the final day of this penultimate pre-season test. Every day of the test we've seen all 6 manufacturers inside the top 10, but today we saw lap times fall to less than an impressive 2 minutes across the entire grid. Top of the timesheets once more, and the undisputed testing champion in Sepang is Petronas Yamaha SRT's Fabio Quartararo. Second fastest despite his heavy testing load was Cal Crutchlow. The LCR Honda rider is taking some of the pressure off Marquez, who is recovering from shoulder surgery. Alex Rins finishes the day 3rd fastest as the team makes impressive progress ahead of the 2020 season, with Joan Mir also sneaking inside the top 10. Francesco Bagnaia makes it 4 manufacturers in the top 4 as the fastest Ducati man of the day. The sophomore rider showing his adaptation to the Desmosedici GP20, and his teammate Jack Miller was the last one on track, riding 48 laps in total and finishing the day 8th despite his top 3 finish yesterday. Valentino Rossi rounds off the top 5 in great form. Both the Doctor and teammate Maverick Vinales were seen with an extra dial on the left side of their bike. Rumours have it that they've joined Aprilia and Ducati in adding a whole shot device to their machines. Hats off also to Vinales, who rode a whopping 83 laps, riding race simulations and posting some good race pace laps. Ducati team's Danilo Petrucci got the top result for the team across the 3 days, placing 6th. Little Andrea Dovizioso to celebrate in 14th, despite being just over half a second off the top spot. Paul Espargaro brings KTM into the top 10 in P7. The factory rider still working on that hybrid chassis, trying different fairings and showing the hard work that the team have put in during the off-season. Aprilia rider Aleix Espargaro finishes the Sepang test a happy man, 9th in the 1-lap pace, but the Spanish rider did a 13-lap race simulation, posting impressive lap times equal to those of the fastest lap during the race last year. A nod to Johann Zarco, who on his 3rd day on the 2019 Ducati Desmos Alici, finished the day 15th, 6/10 adrift. And we saw Jorge Lorenzo back in action testing the Yamaha M1. Team boss Lynn Jarvis told us yesterday that the number 9